Hey everyone, welcome back to After the Close. My name is Mike Fairborn, sitting in for Barb Armstrong. It's great to be here with you all today. That was the close of the bell, and this class is after the close. So imagine that, very timely. Folks, traders do look at breakouts from time to time. Breakouts are interesting because a lot of times, hey, what's going to happen into the next day, the next week? And for that reason, it can be of key importance for many traders to look at. Today, I want to take a look at specifically companies that have broken above a key resistance level, let's say the last 20 days or whatever we want to look at, and look at that into maybe tomorrow. What are some things we could look at in terms of going into tomorrow? In that point, trading into tomorrow or the next week, what might happen, unfold in that fashion. So I will look forward to diving into that with you. I'm joining the chat, good friend of mine. Well, I say welcome back to Cameron May. Good to have him here. It's always a privilege. Any questions or comments you have, throw those in the chat, folks. Welcome to each of you. Ricebird, Tatiana, we've got Beth and John. Great to have you all here. Look forward to our discussion on that and seeing what is breaking out. So let's hit some disclosures. We'll dive right on into it here. All right, information here is for general information purposes only. Options carry a high level of risk. They're not suitable for all investors. While this webcast discusses technical analysis, other approaches, including fundamental analysis, may assert very different views. Paper money software application is for educational purposes only. Investing does involve risk, including loss of principal. Specific securities used to demonstrate analysis and trading functionality were selected randomly. Now, some additional points at the bottom here. As it relates to stop loss orders, they will not guarantee an execution at or near the activation price. Finally, past performance of any security strategy does not guarantee future results or success. So let's go ahead and take a look at the S&P 500 index. Take a look and see how we closed today on the SPX. After the big, massive day, which the Dow had a range of over 3,500 points yesterday. Never seen that before in my life. To the upside, that is. I might have seen it to the downside, but not to the upside. Looking at the S&P 500, it's not too unusual to pull back from that bar. I can imagine the ATRs, the average true ranges, shot up substantially, as you can see. But yeah, I guess we dipped down about a 188 or so. So there you go. And there is the pullback. There's the bounce. We're kind of sitting within this range. Really interesting. Yesterday, I guess when you get these gigantic bars, it does give you a little bit of, you can get some mixed signals to a degree as it relates to, if it's too short term on the candlestick. I had talked about a class in my swing trading class. I said that there was somewhat, and we failed, but there was a Morningstar pattern right there. Okay. And then we got an engulfing pattern yesterday, and today we're getting an inside day or a Harami pattern, which can be a negative sign, but that stands to reason because, man, that's a big bar. And when you get a big bar like that, you're bound to just open up a little bit lower. So having said that, that's what we're seeing here. We're going to talk about some of these companies that have had the ability, actually recently, the strength, I should say, to just break above a prior high like that. Sometimes companies that are broken above a range like this, let's say it's a 20-day new high they're making, because they're showing strength even under weak market conditions, which we've seen, and maybe there's definitely, perhaps a silver lining, I should say, perhaps a silver lining with the tariffs in the sense that we've got 90-day tariffs, a 90-day pause, I should say, on every country out there except for China. And those tariffs are for 10%, right? They're not the reciprocal tariffs. So that leaves a lot of time for negotiation. We'll see what happens. But having said all that, sorry, I wanted to get that off my chest because that's a big deal. But companies that are actually able to break above these levels, let's say if the S&P was, sometimes they're better suited for future trends as well because they're showing strength during market weakness. And so when you get market strength, sometimes they can be even stronger. So I want to address that today. I want to address those on a shorter term chart as well to break them down because those are always interesting to look at on a short term chart once you're seeing a daily breakout. So I wanted to do that. Let's go ahead and talk about some new high, just in general, when a stock does make a new high. In fact, I'm just going to use an example here. This stock did not make a new high. Well, let's go over here. Here is Meta. It did not make a new high. If I was looking at a 20-day new high, the 20-day new high, if I were to count back in time, let's see, I can just click on my bar actually and just go back like this. When was the 20-day high? Well, what was the high over the last 20 days? You see what I did? I've got my pointer tool on here. I click and click again, just go back in time. You can see it counting back the bars. By the way, the second bars, not days. Yeah, we're looking at is actually calendar or bars, that is. So you can see in there. So if that's 20 days, that's a 20-day range over the last 20 days. What's the high over the last 20 days? That would be this bar right there, correct? That would be a 20-day new high. Looks kind of similar to the S&P 500 if we were to take out something like that on the charts. But we have yet to break that. But I want to talk about an indicator today that helps us to spot that when there is a breakout. Just visually, we have a good, solid visual reference of that. Okay, so but let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and jump into that right now. And I don't know, many of you might not have seen this before, and I think it could be interesting, particularly, like I said, going to the next day. So trading to the next day or next week to find strength specifically. 1 year chart over here. What I'm going to do is go right into dropper icon here. I'm going to take these off for now, and we'll go right into it. It's just going to be referred to as price. Just type in price C for price channel right there. I'm going to double click on it. And notice the default there is the 20-day time frame. If I click on this, I'm going to go ahead and go over to my wheel. You can see over here that you can change the length if you wanted to. It's got an upper band and a lower band. Right now we're looking at breakouts, not breakdowns. We're seeing where there might be strength in the market. So what I'm going to do is adjust this indicator for now. I'm going to click on the lower band. Remember, anytime you see plots, that's what's actually going to be visually plotted on the screen. So you want to come over here on the lower band and just simply take out the show plot. You can leave everything else on here. The rest of the check marks, they don't matter at all. So we'll just click on this. I'm going to click on the wheel actually one more time because I want to show you on the upper band. I'm going to make this nice and clear where I can see it. Maybe a width of a 3. We'll do a dotted line. Click OK, and there we go. Do you see what this is doing? It's showing us where breakouts occur on every 20-day time frame. So like I had just shown and measured on the chart, if we go back 20 bars, okay, like this line right there, we're still on Meta. I think it was like this was the bar right there. But we said over the last 20 days, that right there was our high. Right there. So notice what it did? Boom. It put that line right there. Beautifully. Okay. I don't know if you guys are familiar with like the turtle traders or you've heard of turtle trading. It used to be really big in the 1980s. It was a bunch of, traders out there that would trade breaks above a 20-day moving average. They had two separate groups of them, but, above a 20-day high. And that's kind of where I got the idea to do this. And this was fascinating too. It shows you how close this resistance was. There was the 20-day. It slightly broke it, and there was another 20-day right there. Very, very close to a time frame. And after that, you got a breakout. Now, were some of these breakouts that you see here, where it took out the 20-day, tied directly into the name of our class, were they interesting after the close? That's the question. 20-day right here, that was interesting after the close. You had a rally higher. Let's just flip to a different color. We can see it a little bit better. That rallied for 1 day. This rallied for a couple days, or one. This rallied for basically 1 day. And then all of a sudden over here, you have a massive rally. Pretty good rally, right? You have a pretty good rally here, like a swing trade time frame, 3 to 10 days or so. Here's another one right there breaking out. Look at that. Big move. So after the close, can they be interesting? Sure. One of the cool things is we can sit back and reference this. Now, if I were to kind of compare why these over here, 2, 3, were stronger than these over here. First of all, we had some volatility, a downward trend. We had a big gap down on earnings, and we were just closing that gap. So all of this, we don't even have a change in the trend yet, right? Let me show you. There's no change in that trend right here. You've got finally a higher high and a higher low, and barely a higher high here. After that, some of these breakouts tended to go with the trend. This just happens to be Meta we're looking at here. But so when we pull some of these up and we see this happen, we can always just reference to what's the trend doing? Because that could help us just go like this. I don't know about you guys, but I love to do this. Just say, trend's not changed yet. Let's build on the trend instead of getting all these whipsaws, is what they call them, in and out, or very little movement. Although there were some gains to be made in here, they were very short-lived, and you could have been whipsawed out with an exit that you didn't want too, right? So that is the price channel. It's so easy to use, and it can be effective, particularly like if you're running through a number of stocks, like on a watch list and just clicking on them. Now, right now, you can see and pretty much imagine we've had a number of breakdowns as well. That was a very nice one after the close, right? Look at that break. Broke above that resistance level. Nice little rally. Okay. So let's take it a step further because we've got some information here, which is useful. But don't we want to also maybe use some of the additional Thinkorswim tools like the scan tab to try to find these out there? I mean, it's a lot. That would be a lot of stocks to look at that have broken above over the last, I don't know, 2-3 days or so, or even today. We'd be clicking at least 500 times, right? If we're looking at the S&P 500. So let's not click 500 times. In fact, let's just, well, that's the 500 itself. Let's go over here and just click into the add filter. And why that's spinning, that makes me nervous. But okay, let's do this. I'm going to click on add filter right here. And I'm going to go in to study. Okay, so I'm in though right now, just to back it up a little bit. Okay, so traders with me, or probability traders with me. Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, let's try to find it. Let's use this in our favor, right? Yeah. I'm gonna, yeah, I can go as slow as you need me to. We got plenty of time to go through this. But that was the price channel we just looked at, right? Just on the charts. So right over here, price channel. Again, I added that up top in the add studies, price channel, boom. All we did on that too, we just make sure we were looking at the upper band, boom. Okay, I'm gonna keep it on here too, so we can see the reference of it on our scan tab. Right now I'm in the scan tab, sub-tab stock hacker. I have selected the S&P 500. Folks, I'm gonna click this again to make sure this isn't just gonna keep spinning on me. I was getting nervous. I don't know about everybody else, but when I see that just spin, oh, good, it's working. Now this is just the default. This stock happened to cross above just this default one. That's no big deal. Okay, let's go back to the public folder, and I'm gonna go. We're gonna open our horizons a little bit bigger. The 500, the S&P 500. Now I'm gonna go over here since I've added in a study filter, and this is our default study filter. I'm gonna go to the far right and click on my pencil. And of course, it puts it on my second screen. Let me pull it up for you guys. There is the ADX crossover, which we're not going to be using. So let's just hit the big old delete button right there and kill it. What we are going to be using is the price channel. And we're going to set this up just very, very deliberately. Nothing crazy at all. We're going to use the condition wizard. So we're going to actually create ThinkScript code that just works because it's built. It's built into the system. As long as it gives us what we're after, we should be good, and it will. So anytime you can find an indicator that does something you want it to do, a la the price channel, breakouts, or in fact, conversely, breakdowns, use an indicator in ThinkScript, and then that way you don't have to do the programming for it. Now, I teach a class on ThinkScript tomorrow, and I'm going to actually be hitting a number of recent requests. So it's just really kind of a request day. I've got about like several requests that I've had, and I've been building some of these up for just individuals to show, like just sometimes additions. That's totally separate. That's actually coming in here and building code. This is a great way to tap in, and these can be just magnificent because they are so simple and straightforward and very understandable, just like I showed right there. But we went through the concept of it first, right? A break above a particular price channel. Let's add condition right here, and all we're going to do is just spell it out for the computer. Price, closing price, breaks above. They use the term crosses above right here. What does it cross above? It was that indicator. What was that indicator? Price channel. It's a study. We got to click on study right there. And let's just start typing it in. Now, you can scroll down this list. I don't recommend that. We're in the P's. It's a little bit of a scroll, but I mean, shoot, knock yourself. There's a lot in here you can look at here. I just saw a few I've never seen before. Maybe they're new. Price C again, price channel. So simple. Look at this. Now, what we need to do, key point, remember the plot? Remember, this is plotting, though, for the actual scan. It's not the visual on the chart. It's important, but it plots the channel. The default's a lower band. This can really throw you off, and you won't get any searches. If you'd have the lower band selected, you want to go with the upper band right there. Okay. The time frame we were looking at, 20 period highs, which we saw on the chart. We saw how that's set up on the chart. Let's go ahead and exactly. Yep, you got it. You nailed it. Perfect. Yeah, in fact, if you can build it with me as we're doing this, so much the better. Because you can actually, once you get it done, you can save it too. Save the study. You don't have to build it again. And that way you can utilize it. One last step, and you got to do this depending upon how big that window is. Grab that right scroll bar, scroll on down. I'm going to say within 3 bars. That means it could have happened today, yesterday, or the day before yesterday, right? Let's go ahead and click on 3 right there. You can go back as far as you want, but I'm going to say, hey, if it can do it over the last 3 days, I want to know what companies are able to actually break out over the last 3 days relative to the market, which is a clear breakdown. Big breakdown, right? Big one. All right, let's go ahead and tab through that. Okay, and click save. You got to click save right here first. Now it's saved. That right there, my friends, folks, that is the code. That is like almost like assembly language as opposed to, let's say, Python or BASIC or whatever. This is something that the computer reads very, very quickly. This is like the assembly language for it. Think script. It drives right to the core of it. If I were to write this out, believe me, guys, it would look a lot different. Because I don't write in assembly language. I try to use the most basic language I can to get things going, but you don't even have to worry about it here. You just go, you're done. It just built the code. So now we're just going to click on OK right there, and it's done. All we got to do now, hit that big green button over here. What did we get over the last 3 days? There you go. Newmont Mining, gold. Okay, so gold, that's a gold miner, and I know gold has been really quite strong. You can put other columns in here too. This is the scan tab. It has that same sort of functionality that we'll see on the Market Watch tab. We'll get it on the Monitor tab, and here you go. You got it on the Scan tab as well. Let's take a look at them right now. Here is NEM. It did all the work for us. Boom. You see it? Was this the highest high of the last 20 days, the prior one? It sure was. And this gave us a signal within 1 to 3 days. It happened to be 1 day. It's today. It broke out. Now, could that be interesting tomorrow? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it could. Has the trend changed on this stock? Higher highs, higher lows. The trend, oh, I better spell it out because a plus sign next to the trend, because it is up. The trend itself is up. The breakout occurred within 1 to 3 days. Now, there is earnings down here. Or there are earnings, right? And we want to know what's up with that. But I would say this, although I'm not able to pull up the chart of gold. I'm not allowed to right now. I didn't have the scenario, the setup to do it. I will say this for you is that gold has been breaking higher. You can take a look at gold too, if you want. But sometimes when the price of gold is higher, I mean, well, when it is higher, remember these guys they get into the dirt. Is one way to say it. These guys get into the dirt, these companies that mine. And when they get it out of the ground, if the price of gold is higher, the sales of the company are higher. Now, there's a lot of things going on with the company. I don't know exactly what was going on over here, but I can tell you that gold continued to climb up and it began to really get moving over here with the trend. So things are looking interesting, but this scan helped us spot that. Okay? It helped us see it very quickly. So that could be of interest to some traders that are looking for those. And by the way, the other thing I would say with this, with gold being as strong as it has been in the markets. And that's interesting because it did pinpoint a gold miner. Look at this volume down here. Folks, good or bad? Good or bad on the volume? Most of that volume, well, a lot of it, 1, 2, 3, 4 of it, 4 days back, about right here, was correlated with the upward move. So I've got to put another plus down here for volume in terms of strength, in terms of taking out those highs. Remember, that was a 50. That's a big round number. I'm not promoting this because we don't recommend any stocks. I'm just letting everybody know. These are the signs we're saying, and whatever stock we're looking at, whatever symbol it is, you might want to look for volume strength too, as it's breaking above resistance, regardless of what happens. Anything can happen. I mean, it certainly can, but you try to find those areas where maybe you're getting enough indicators so there is a higher you have an expectation of it going up with the additional indicators. But it does take out a lot of times when you get this big resistance level forming, it can take a lot of volume to get through. That's all I wanted to go on that. Okay, so I think we hit that one pretty clear. Let's go into some other ones though. Humana, UNH. Okay, so we're getting. I've made sure I've got the sector in here. Kind of cool to see. We got 1, 2, 3 on the healthcare group. Different sub-industries. This is managed care, and this is actually healthcare equipment. Yeah, Intuitive Surgical. They have that Da Vinci machine, which is the robotic arm. It does robotic surgeries. By the way, that's been around since 2005. I remember when that came out. That's interesting. But let's look at some of these. And by the way, think in terms of defensive industries. Healthcare, yeah, it's pretty defensive. Okay, what are we saying over here? Remember what the market's been doing conversely. Market down. Now it's rebounded recently, but this company held up a little bit. And you could say that the short-term trend, if we still are talking about trends here, the short-term trend, well, I mean, these are lows. Did we take out those highs? We did, and we've got our indicator right there. Did it lie to us or not? Let's just say it was lying. We want to trust, but we also want to verify. What did we say on that indicator? I think we said, let's go back to our scan tab. We said the last 3 bars. Did it break it within the last 3? This stock wouldn't have shown up if we would have said the last 2 bars. So do you see how it still shows strength? This was a really big down day in the markets, I believe. Wasn't it? Yeah, it was 2 days ago. Not yesterday, the day before. We had a huge dip lower in the markets, the massive one. This happened to gap up. So we've added 3 in there. In fact, I could go back to 4 and maybe pull up another one. But that certainly broke above resistance and may be holding there. One of the key things that as we look into the trade into the next day, tomorrow, Friday, or into next week, is what might happen next. One of the cool things when you're getting a breakout, what do we get after we get a breakout? It broke out above what? Resistance, and resistance can become support, right? And a lot of times when you get these breakouts, they like to sort of what's referred to in the market as staircasing higher. That's what they'll tend to do. They'll go like this. They'll rest on previous highs a lot of times. Not every time, but this is one way for trends to unfold, like this. Notice what I'm doing. I'm just drawing the lines that are coming in, representing the prior highs right there and right there. And then this is how a lot of trends are established. Not all the time, but they can be interesting. The other thing too is if I were to get a pullback down through here, what's happening with a short-term, let's say, moving average, like a 10-period moving average. 10-period moving average might be doing this. Oh, we broke below the moving average, and then there's our moving average here. But then prices come in and break above that level and continue to go higher. Okay. The other one was UNH. Let's just pull that up too. That's also in healthcare. Oh, much, much stronger. So this has been, yeah. So it gapped up 2-3 days ago. Let's really zoom in on it. But what was the highest high of the last 20 days? It was yesterday. Yesterday was the highest high of the last 20 days. Previously, it was this level, which we gapped right above. Now, if I were to change on this, if I want to give you the visual first, if I wanted a longer term breakout, because UNH clearly had a longer term breakout here that would have been really interesting to see. If we were running a scan like this, or we had it in like a, let's say a market watch column, for example. Let me show you. If I click on the bar here and pull this guy back, how far back was that? I was just going to say 50. It's 48 bars right there. If I change this price channel to a 50, you know what's going to show? This breakout right here. Instead of dipping down to the 20, because we're past 20 days over here, right? And so it dips, 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 and it goes from there. But if I change it, you're going to get a longer term breakout. I'll just say, I bring this up because I think many of you do want to see longer term breakouts. I'm just going to flip that to a 50, which is another very common one. I believe, you know, some of these trading groups, traders will look to use a 50. There it is. See how that adapted? So if we were running this and I said, and I'm not going to update the scan because I just wanted to show you here so you could see it anyways. But if I were to update that scan we just built, this would have given us a signal because you've got 1 day right there. You got 2 days and you got 3 days back. And where did we break it at? Right there. 3 days ago, we took out a longer term resistance level. So we could have used 3 on this. It worked on the 20 because we're still making highs. That's the highest high over the last 20 bars. But no, over in terms of 50, this was the high because all this down here was not. Kind of almost like a cup and handle a little bit, like right there's your handle. Do you see it? And then boom, there's the break. I mean, who would have ever guessed that? Nobody, I don't think, you know, particularly with the tariff reaction that caught a lot of people off guard as well. Also, too, folks, the trend is higher. So you're getting the trend. Go through those steps, right? Kind of like as a checklist, trends up. Hey, price pattern, great. A lot of times if you get a bullish price pattern, it's going to be tied to an upward trend. What was the other one we talked about? Volume. How's the volume doing over the last 3 bars? Starting to spike. Actually, that's 4, but better volume too. Sometimes you do need that good volume, like I said, to break through resistance. And there was resistance there. Make no doubt, you know, let there be no doubt about it. There was, but that's a cool way to do it. That's actually a really good lead into the longer term breakouts. And sometimes, you know, a 50 period. In fact, let's just do it. I just want to run it and see what else we get out of this thing. There are some other companies you've got right there over the 3-day window. But if I flip this, it's so simple to do. If I just want to go back into this and change it, I just go back into my pencil over here, go right into edit again. Okay. And then what am I going to change? Just that. If this condition wizard is working really, really well for us and just doing it, you know, perfectly what we expect, we should be able to see UNH immediately right now because we just saw it visually on the chart. I said 30, sorry, 50. We should be able to see the 50 show up. It should show up. It's within 3 bars. There it is. There's the script right there. It's very clear and straightforward. Very, very easy to read. Let's click on it. Click OK. And we'll do it again. It's just, you got to remember to scan it. Boom. UNH. Also Newmont. See how fast it went through those 500? Gave us exactly 50-day breakouts. So cool. Let's look at Newmont again, just with this extended chart in place. Okay, so that's interesting. Yeah. There you go. Broke it as well. That was the highest high over the last 50 days. It looks a little different, but that was the highest high. Go back 50 bars. What was the last high over 50 bars? Right there. So this can be incredibly difficult to sort of program in ThinkScript. There are some cool things, though. Some very, very cool things that we can program in ThinkScript. If you're interested in that, let me just share this with you right here. This is Trader Talks channel. Encourage you to subscribe to this for sure. If you're interested, I do teach on Friday the ThinkScript class. We're going to talk about some breakout stocks in there. If you like some of those codes or stocks that are breaking out, let me just type in ThinkScript here. Oh, think. What? Oh, I got to scroll down more. Okay. I'm just going to pull this up. Sorry, I didn't think I'd have to scroll down again, but I'll put this in the link here if you want to take a look at this. I've done quite a few. I did one down here, Condition Wizard Gems. I did this one recently. This last week, it talks about candlesticks specifically. So it just breaks down how to find candles just in one simple scan. We have all the candlesticks in there. There are some variations, some different adjustments that you want to be aware of, but I'm just going to show you that this is in here for you to take a look at the ThinkScript. So here is the ThinkScript. Yeah, just the playlist, and here is that class if you wanted to take a look at it, though, for the last one. Any of you that look at candles are very interesting because candles can get you the initial move. Like, for example, what I talked about on the S&P 500 index. We talked about it a few days ago in the swing trade class, which was, hey, I got a Morningstar pattern. Let's see if this becomes a support level. Who's to say what the smart money knew about it? Sometimes people have great information, but sometimes those candlestick patterns can give you insights to that, This is that ThinkScript class right there if you want to take a look at the candlestick patterns. It's very quick, too, very easy. You can save these. Let me show you how you save them. You come over here. Once you have the scan in place, you've built it all up, folks. By the way, have a great evening, Kevin. Great to see you. And let's go over here and let's go into, voila, save scan query. We can save our condition wizards, no problem. We come right over here, just save it. It's in this middle sort of hamburger looking icon deal right over here. And that's the one we're clicking. I point that out because we have 3 of them. But if you click on the middle one right there, you can go down to save scan query. And you got it. I might just update this. Sure, 30-day high breakout. This is 50. And instead of keeping all these in here, I'm just going to update this. Wow, that was a little while ago. Actually, you know what? I think that was something different. Okay, so anyways, there you go. You can save it. You can get it there. And by the way, if you guys want me to do this and just share it with you, this one that we just built, let me throw that in too. There you go. So that is the code you can use to set it up, and then just remember it's going to be, it's a scan code. And so with the scan codes, you're going to want to go over here to find it, load it up, go into the load up section. Okay. All right. Hey, we have some time left here too. So let's do this. Let's take a look at, let's say, for example, NEM. It was one of those that broke out. It had broken out. We don't have a ton that have broken out recently, but this one did, and so did UNH, both over a 50-day time frame and a 20-day time frame. It broke higher, but one thing that's kind of fun to do is just go into a shorter term time frame. Here's a 5-day, 10-day, 30 minutes, fine. We have a lot of overnight data. That's okay, though. We'll just look at it. That's what these shaded areas are. One thing that can kind of help us, remember how we broke above this resistance level near 50-ish? That's kind of a big round number where stocks can hold up. We're looking at it intraday, and I mean, some traders looking for the possibility of a follow through. Well, what they could do is they could come over here and just say, well, hey, the price of the stock, is it coming down? Is it respecting this support level? And on a 30-minute chart, 30 minutes, I mean, it can be a great way to see it maybe a little bit quicker. On the daily chart, you might just see like a little spike in the shadow of the candle, going higher. Those are tricky to see on a daily chart. But shoot, if you can put a 10-day, 30-minute chart in here, or even narrow it down to a 5-day, 5-minute as it's going, you might really be able to see, okay, yeah, it looks like it might be possibly on a 5-day, 5-minute chart coming down here, maybe bouncing off the 50-day moving average. You're just getting a ton more data to look at here, and then you can kind of watch it if in fact after the close, you know, we're starting to go a little bit higher. You know, if it does begin to trend tomorrow or the next day or whatever we see, but it's not too unusual, like we'd said, for prices to retest. And that's why I'm kind of highlighting that 50-day. Remember, that's a 50-day high range. It's also a 20. And if we were to come back here, keep in mind earnings, but will it now break up again? I will say this, there's a lot of strength right there in that move. Look at that move relative to this move. Now, I know this was a decent run, but it was really made up of very, very small bars, smallish type bars. Do you see that? Very small. Already talked about the volume. So these are just things to look at, whether they're doing, you know, they're showing us good indications or not so good indications. The cool thing is we can just kind of compare it with other companies out there and see what they're looking like. Oh, by the way, there was ISRG. I wanted to look at that one. ISRG in there. Oh, interesting. Okay, so it did take out the high, and you could say that's not the 50-day new high. By the way, when this came up, this only came up. We only had two, Newmont and UNH for the 50-day. This is the 20-day, and we did take out that high within the last 2 days. Now we're not above it. We dipped down below, but this is exactly what I was talking about in terms of finding more strength relative to the market, because the market, S&P 500, is not above that last high. It's nowhere close. We didn't clear it. We didn't break above it. This one's already testing lower. Now there are earnings coming up, and so maybe people, whatever company you're looking at, anytime you're looking at earnings, if you don't have a good sense of that company, it can be quite volatile, right? And I will say this too. Has the trend fully changed yet? That's a new low. That's a new high. But have we had a higher low yet? No. We got the breakout. This signified the higher high, but not a new low. You only know you get the new low when you start to break above this high initially, because that's what it's going to take for that trend to start, right? The new trend has got to take out some highs in there. So keep all that in mind. Yeah. And so the trend hasn't changed yet. You're looking at earnings, and that's still not there, but still some very interesting signs. Keep a watch on this. Look at the S&P 500. Remember that prior high? We did not break it. We're a long ways away. There's the prior high on the S&P for the market as a whole, right there. We're down here. ISRG is about right there relative to its prior high, and it already broke it too. So the scan was successful once again in finding that breakout for us. Really cool. Now, before we're done, I want to just show you this. The scan tab, folks, we can really knock it out. In fact, let's do this. Let's use the 50, but let's not use the S&P 500. Let's use something much, much bigger. Like, for example, the NYSE. The NYSE, let's see. I think the NYSE has 2,700, over 2,700 stocks. Let's see how fast. This is much more. Many, many more. But look how quick, because I think we're using a language here that goes so fast for the computer. 2,700. That quick. We got 16 out of 2,700. But boom, you're still getting NEM, UNH. So this can brighten your perspective a little bit. By the way, why weren't we seeing more gold? We were looking at the S&P 500. Is gold breaking out? You have a list of gold stocks to kind of take a look at if you wanted to. I'm just saying, there are some there. There's coal. By the way, you're getting another healthcare company too. Wasn't that fast? I just love how quick it was, how quick that pops up. Folks, I hope you found this useful. Smash that like button. So easy to do. Would really appreciate it if you do that. You got to like it though first. But hopefully I did find some stuff for you that you did find interesting and effective as well. Bottom right hand corner of the screen. Hit that subscribe button. Love to have you on board as well. Yeah, look forward to future discussions. Again, I've got that Think Script class tomorrow. If you want to see some additional scripts, I'm just hitting like the top 5 requests that we've got. So some pretty cool ones that people have come up with. I've been trying to build them for a while here, but we'll hit that. Been great being with you. Thank you so much, Cam. As always, did a fantastic job. And thank you, sir. And great to see all of you here. I spend a lot of time looking at the screen, trying to get information out to you, but I always go back. I like to look at the chats and read and really appreciate it. Folks, have a good rest of the day. And we're almost towards the end of the weekend. It's been a crazy week, but hopefully these tools can be effective and helpful for you. That's the whole goal. Take care, everybody. See you next time.